Hey, everybody, welcome to the latest edition of the Diamond Discussion. I am your host, Demetrius Woods, and today I'm going to share with you some details about my road trip here to Boston. I'm also going to get into the latest in college softball, crazy upsets last week. And at the very end here, I'm also going to share with you one of the favorite questions that I love to get around this time of year. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, guys, welcome to the show. So this is going to be a quick kind of special show for you this week. If you're watching on video, I am in kind of a makeshift studio today. I am downtown Boston right now, and the concierge was gracious enough to let me borrow the back room, the back meeting room of their in-hotel restaurant here to do the show here. I'm shooting the show probably about 10:30 Wednesday night this week, and they close at 11. So I'm jumping in, guys, head first. So hopefully I can add some value to you today on this episode. And I'm going to kick it off with just a little bit about my road trip here to Boston. I know a lot of you guys have asked on Instagram just what you're doing, what you got going on. So I'm just going to share. So my wife and I and daughter, we decided to embark on our journey on Sunday of earlier this week, and we shot up from Eatonton, Georgia, which is where our home is, up to Demarest, Georgia, and that's about close to about 2 hour drive or so. And one of our former players, Maddie Speaks, who was on the show at the very beginning of season one, and she plays at Piedmont University now, shortstop there. And so we got a chance to see a doubleheader with her, which was awesome. Got a chance to watch them grab a couple of victories. And man, I'm telling you, I'm so proud of that girl. She's just she's balling and putting up an amazing freshman campaign. So that was day one of our road trip. And then on that day we left Piedmont University and took about a 4.5, 5 hour drive up to Durham, North Carolina, and spent the night there. Fabulous hotel downtown. Didn't really spend a whole bunch of time there in Durham. Really was just like get there, go to sleep, and then we got up the next morning, probably I think 10:30, 11 o'clock. Dipped out of there around 12, and then we headed to Baltimore. And guys, so if I haven't said this before, so I am on this journey to see all 30 MLB. Well, excuse me. I want to see games at all 30 MLB ballparks before I'm 40 years old. And so prior to the start of this trip, I was at 12. Okay, so we stopped in Baltimore by Camden Yards, which is where the Baltimore Orioles MLB team plays, and got an opportunity to see them play the Minnesota Twins. And guys, let me just tell you, beautiful ballpark. I love the layout. Just everything about it. Just it's a beautiful skyline right there in center field. They've got the brick laid out in right field as kind of a backdrop there. Just incredible ballpark. And so we were like, hey, you know what? And tickets were not very expensive. So we're like, hey, you know what? Let's get some club seats. We don't really get an opportunity to live the lavish lifestyle, if you will, with club seats and air conditioning access and all that jazz. And so we jumped in head first. We're like, okay, cool, let's do it. And before you know it, we're in the game. We're having fun, enjoying, having a good time. Learning the names and just kind of fellowshipping with the people around us. Right, nothing to it. Then lo and behold, foul ball gets hit above us. Okay, by this batter. I think this was Minnesota Twins were batting. This is like the 7th or 8th inning, right? And 2 pitches later, he hits another one. Same guy hits another foul ball right in our section. It bounces, comes back down to the 200 section there, and kind of trickles in and falls like I'd say about 6 seats to our left. Right, super awesome guy. We'd already kind of figured out who he was. Oh, not who he was, but kind of fellowshipped with him a little bit, right? And so he's like immediately grabs the ball. I'm kind of over there next to him because I was kind of trying to get up and maybe snag the ball for Aubrey, which was my daughter sitting right next to me. And he immediately turns around and he's like, hey, right here for Aubrey, right? So Aubrey comes and grabs the ball from him. Of course, we thank him. He's a super cool dude. Got a chance to grab a selfie with him. Just amazing human being, talking back and forth, whatever. Like just good camaraderie, right? Great friend, just great fellowship, right? It was great. And then, right, he's like, this is probably, I say 3 or 4 minutes later, like the end of the inning, not even, right? He comes up to me, he's like, dude, my brother's texting me. He's like, he just saw us on the Baltimore Orioles broadcast on TV. Right, I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. Like, yeah, and this, it's like, oh, okay, cool. We're on TV, like that's awesome. And obviously, the broadcast got the foul ball in the shot, like super cool, right? Super cool moment for us, and we thought nothing else of it really after that. Okay, and guys, when I tell you this, just absolutely ballooned, blew up, crazy, right? Because now my phone's buzzing, his phone is still buzzing, and lo and behold, MLB had put this on their Instagram. MLB on Fox had put it on Instagram. People are tagging us all left and right, Instagram, Facebook, social media in general. And it's guys, the last 72 hours have been an absolute whirlwind because my phone will not stop buzzing. Aside from the everyday work phone, text messages and emails that I get, just social media has been off the hook. Like, even while I'm recording this show right now, I'm getting buzzed all the time, right? So it's been amazing, just the overwhelming love and just the comments and the kindness of people as they reference my daughter because she was got an opportunity to get this foul ball, and of course everybody doesn't get that opportunity when they go to the ballpark. So I'm super grateful for that gentleman. And he and I exchanged phone numbers, and just we got the selfie with each other. And so, of course, we're going to connect the next time we're back in the Baltimore area. But it was just an absolute incredible experience for my family, and just to see social media, share comments and just shower it with love. It just any faith that I'd lost in humanity, which I haven't lost much, but it was immediately restored because it was all good vibes, and it was really cool. I saw this one comment on social media, it made me laugh, and it said this guy was like, no way I'm giving that ball to the kid. Like, you got to have a Mamba mentality. You're taking that home. And I respect it. I get it. Totally cool. So, but again, just all great vibes, and just absolute love from start to finish with that experience. And I couldn't be more grateful for the gentleman, and of course more grateful for MLB as well of getting that moment captured, because we're going to save that forever, and we'll cherish that for a lifetime. So thank you, MLB, and thank you, awesome gentlemen, as well for capturing and being a part of that moment for myself, my daughter, and my wife as well. So we're going to take a very small break here, and I'm going to finish up and share with you the rest of the road trip, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to the show again. So thank you once again for tuning in. I know I'm breezing through this one pretty fast, and as I was sharing with you, so from a road trip standpoint, we were in Baltimore, and then that night we left Baltimore after the game. Orioles got the victory. It's a crazy game, by the way. Like, I think both teams combined for nearly like 25 hits. Orioles won by 3 or 4 runs. I think like 7-2, 7-3, something like that. And so anyway, we headed to New York. Bethany's cousin, our cousin, lives in the city, right, like right in Manhattan area. And so we drive into Manhattan. And we get to New York at like 1 in the morning. We crash, spend the night there at her cousin's house, and we get up the next morning and we go have kind of like a brunch there in NYC. Got an opportunity to go over to Pier 17 and just hang out, gallivant a little bit, see the skyline, and Aubrey got a chance to get a little playground fix in because she's always talking about a playground, guys. So anyway, so that was NYC for like 8 hours basically for it. Well, I'd say about maybe like 10 hours or so. And so we jetted out of NYC, and then we headed straight here to Boston because I am not only a Boston Red Sox baseball fan, but I'm also a Boston Bruins hockey fan. And I don't think I've mentioned this before, but my wife is a diehard now Nashville Predators fan, and so her Predators have recently clinched a playoff spot, so that's exciting. My Boston Bruins, they've got a top 3 or 4 spot in the Eastern Conference, so both of our hockey teams are going to the playoffs. We got a chance to go to TD Garden, and on that, what was that? That was Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday night. Got a chance to go to TD Garden, see the Bruins. They did score a goal, at least one that night, which was great. Got to see the atmosphere of that, of us scoring a goal. We lost the game. Didn't really seem like we were taking it seriously at all. We were playing kind of a bottom of the barrel team this year and the Ottawa Senators, and kind of resting some guys to pretty much prepare for the playoffs. So didn't really see our best efforts from the Bruins standpoint, but I think the playoffs will be a lot different story on that front. And then on Wednesday, got an opportunity to go to Fenway Park, see the Red Sox. But before that, we were like, you know what? Let's take a quick day trip. And when I say day trip, I'm talking like 6 hours. Okay, so we woke up, took a quick day trip down to Rhode Island, and specifically Newport, Rhode Island. So if I have any listeners from Rhode Island or even specifically Newport, shout out to you and your city because everything was fabulous in the beautiful state of Rhode Island. I mean, and I say beautiful, like I am not kidding. I've never even thought twice about going to Rhode Island in my entire life. But we're like, hey, it's an hour and 15-minute drive from downtown Boston to Newport. There's this place called or not a place, but I guess like a section of it called the Cliff Walk, and I think it's about it's about 5K. It's about a 3.2 mile stretch of cliff walking, right on the water. Like you're getting to see just the beautiful landscape. They've got a ton of mansions along the cliff walk. Just beautiful nature. All right. So my wife and daughter and I, we decided, hey, you know what? Let's go hike like half of the cliff walk. Right. We'll go down and back, so we'll get 3.5, 4 miles in. And there's also kind of a beach area as well. And it was super windy, kind of cold actually to be on the beach. But either way, like just the scenery was beautiful. We stopped at this little pub called O'Brien's. So if you're ever in Newport, Rhode Island, go check out O'Brien's Pub. Highly recommended, 10 out of 10. Beautiful, amazing, great food, great atmosphere. It definitely gives the vibes of like a sports bar area as well. So you want to watch some sports and you want to dig in. Like I support it. So shout out to O'Brien's as well. So after that, we take the hour and a half minute drive back to Boston to see the Boston Red Sox take on who do we play? Oh, the Cleveland Guardians, right? And because you remember, I don't know if you guys, some of you may follow baseball, so the Cleveland Indians are now the Cleveland Guardians. They changed their name a season ago, and so anyway, got to see the Boston Red Sox. We're sitting about 12 rows behind home plate for a beautiful night game in Boston. And Tanner Houck, man, starting pitcher for the Red Sox. I think he threw under 100 pitches and pitched a complete game. And I think he had 9 or 10 strikeouts. I mean, dude just absolutely dealt a gem. I mean, he was mowing them down. He's producing, ground ball outs, pop up outs. I mean, you name it. I think he had allowed 3 or 4 base hits max. But he just had himself a night. The Red Sox gave him enough run support. All he really needed was one, but they gave him two, a home run, a couple of extra base hits. So great night to be a Red Sox fan. As at the time of this recording, as I said, I'm recording this on a Wednesday night, so I just got back from the Red Sox game to record this. We're going to the Red Sox game again by the time you've seen this show, and it's a Thursday day game, so we'll catch our second Red Sox game, and then on Friday we're going to head back down towards Georgia, and we'll take a pit stop, take about a 6-hour drive from Boston to Philadelphia. We'll see the Philadelphia Phillies take on the Chicago White Sox. We'll also grab a little quick tour, maybe go see the Liberty Bell. I think it's Independence Hall, some other things around Philadelphia. We've never been there either. So really, really excited about that. And then on Saturday, so we'll spend the night in Philly. And then on Saturday, we'll head down to DC and see some of the sights there. My daughter, guys, she is really into dinosaurs and just that kind of historic artifacts type deal. She's only 4 years old, but she's really into it. So we're excited that she's into it. So we're gonna go to the Smithsonian and probably catch a couple of other just monuments or just a couple of sites to see there in DC, and then also go to Nationals Park to see the Washington Nationals. So we're checking off 4 ballparks during this tour. One of them we've already been to, which was Fenway. We've been to it before this time, but we're checking off 4, but 3 brand new ones. So we'll be at 15. So we'll be halfway to our goal of seeing all 30 MLB ballparks at the end of this tour, which I'm super pumped about. And then after the Nationals one, it's crazy. Aubrey, my 4-year-old daughter, would have notched her 10th ballpark as well, which is just unbelievable. She's very well traveled at 4 years old. We take her literally everywhere we go, and we love it. So, anyway, all that to be said, that would conclude our road trip. Pretty much a Sunday to Saturday type deal. I love the game of baseball. Obviously, I love softball as well. And so the Diamond Sports, i.e., the Diamond Discussion Podcast, I'm a very huge proponent and fan of. And so, with that being said, enough about the road trip. Let's jump into these daggum upsets, man. Like crazy, y'all. Last week, we had just ridiculous things going on, right? I'm like, you know what? This is Friday. All happened on Friday, I think, Friday night. I'm like, you know what? All right, this is the 2 days before our road trip because is that right? Yeah. 2 days before the road trip began, because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sit down. It's a Friday night. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to stay at home. I'm going to watch my LSU Tigers take on my wife's Auburn Tigers, right? Cool little friendly rivalry we have in the household. Great. Auburn softball, not doing great right now. At that point, they had like 3 SEC wins. Okay. LSU, number 6 team in the country. Now, nothing in the SEC is a cakewalk by any stretch of the imagination. But I was genuinely thinking like we should definitely get this dub, right? And unbeknownst to me, Auburn was like, not so fast. We're gonna take game 1, and we're gonna take it. We're gonna rip your heart out, actually. So Auburn won game 1, man. I was upset about that, but just again, it was an upset, truly, because Auburn wasn't even ranked at the time. They're not even ranked now, and LSU took game 2. The bats got going, and then freaking Auburn won game 3. So Auburn took the series from LSU, the entire series, not just one game. So that was crazy. We had BYU upsetting Oklahoma, big bad Oklahoma, right? Like, what's going on? Is the world ending or what? Like, what's happening, right? We had that one. We had Mizzou, which again, Mizzou is slightly underrated in my opinion. They took a series from LSU as well, and they beat Florida though. Mizzou beat Florida that night, and Florida also dropped a game, midweek game, to University of South Florida. So shout out to USF for taking on Florida and beating them. I think they won by multiple runs, like 7-4 or something like that. So Florida dropped 2 games back to back right there, and that was very just coming off of their LSU series. Like I didn't really see that coming. So that was a big shocker for me. Iowa State they shut out Oklahoma State that Friday 2-0, and Kentucky beat Georgia. Kentucky just dropped out of the rankings. They were top 25 for really the first part of the SEC. Once the SEC series got started, and they kind of dropped a couple series. They got swept by LSU. I can't remember who else they may have lost to, but I definitely remember the LSU series. And yeah, they ended up beating Georgia convincingly that first night. So crazy upsets going on. The rankings that we've got, I mean, Texas, Oklahoma, Stanford, Duke, and Tennessee would be the top 5 there. And then to round out top 5, 6 through 10, you got Washington, Oklahoma State, LSU, Florida, and Mizzou. I think the committee is being very, and again, this is me saying this as an LSU fan. I think the committee is being very generous to my Tigers because we're sitting in the 8th spot right now, and the 2 teams that took a series from us, Florida and Mizzou, are at 9 and 10 respectively. One could vouch, right, that Florida and Missouri should both be ahead of LSU just by mere fact that they beat us 2 out of 3 times. Both of them did. So again, I ain't tripping, right? Not tripping at all about that. Not shocked by the Texas #1 ranking right now. They look like the best team in the country today, especially with Oklahoma having dropped the series to Texas and then having dropped a couple of other games, including the most recent one against BYU. So, mad respect for Texas on that front. Man, just crazy upsets, and y'all, we're getting so close. We're getting so close to conference tournament time. I'm not rushing it at all. We got some great matchups coming up this weekend as well. So big one, LSU Tennessee. That's going to be a big knockdown, drag out one. And you know what? I will say, don't sleep on my Tigers, man. I don't know that Tennessee's going to wipe them out like some expect them to. I've really heard the rumblings of Tennessee going to sweep LSU, whatever. I'm not here to talk any smack. I'm just saying don't sleep on my Tigers because I think they got some stuff left in the tank, and we're going to see how they look going into the SEC tournament. So pumped up about that. I think that's it. That's it on the college rankings. I'm going to take a quick break here because my timer's about to go off. I know they're going to come get me in a little bit probably. So, so I'm going to take a small break and I'll be right back. I'm going to share something with you guys, which is one of my favorite questions that I love to get around this time of year from some of my players. And I'll share a thought you should know moment with you as well. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back to the show one last time. So once again, we are rolling through this joker real quick because, as I mentioned earlier at the onset, I am in downtown Boston right now. Just one of my favorite cities to visit just because of the sports and the city of champions that it is. And but I'm also recording this show later in the night, and the restaurant here at my hotel, they're allowing me to use their meeting room to shoot this. So sorry for the poor lighting if you're watching this on video, but this is the best I can do. And if you're listening to this on Spotify or Audible, it doesn't phase you at all. So anyway, I'm going to share one of my favorite questions that I love to get from my girls. I say this time of year, usually within like really within about 6 to 7 month window or so, I get this question. I'm not going to mention the player who said it because I don't want to embarrass. I know it might embarrass a little bit, so I won't. But or most recently, just asked me today actually, and of this recording rather. And the question is, what do I say to him? Right? Simple question, but what is she talking about? What she's talking about is, what do I say to the college coach when I want to let him or her know that I want to officially commit? Like I want to accept the offer of the college coach and I'm ready to commit. And I guys, I can't tell you how much I love this question because it's a genuine question that I get, and it comes with just joy and nerves and giddiness and all of that jazz. And I just absolutely love it. I love it because it's just filled with great, just warm fuzzies. I don't know. I'm just being corny about it because I just love it so much. And what do I say? Well, let me answer the question, I guess. Right. So just text them. Right. Text them and say, hey, do you have a quick minute to talk on the phone? Right. And when they tell you a time, call them at that appropriate time and let them know, hey, listen, I just want to let you know I loved my visit down there with you, and I'm really excited about being a part of the program, and I just want to let you know I want to officially commit to you and your softball or baseball program. And there's really that's really all there is to it, right? I mean, you can say some other stuff or add whatever you want to add it to it or reference whatever you want to reference, but that's the bottom line. Like you just want to simply let them know that you're looking forward to it, you're excited, you're ready to go, and if there are some next steps to take on your part, you want to get that information as well. And usually it's just getting some paperwork handled and making sure you're accepted and all that other stuff that comes with it. But I just, like I said, y'all, I love that question because it comes from a great place from the player. And the player that I'm talking about that asked me this question today, just verbally committed, and I'm so freaking excited for her. Boy, I cannot wait. I'm excited for her journey. I'm excited for the coach that she's committing to. Just everybody involved in this situation. I'm pumped. So shout out to both of them. I will mention them next week on the show, most likely. I've got to contain my giddiness right now because I got to wrap up the show. But anyway, shout out to both of you. Love you both. Y'all rock. Anyway, so with that being said, let me share with you guys my thought you should know moment. And this is very much a common, I'd say common, like it's an old adage. Okay, old adage. Like a lot of people have heard this one before, and I actually saw it. I was scrolling through some old like documents or whatever that I had, and I had written this down from a conference that I went to up in Vermont. And actually, I'm not far from Vermont now, being in Boston. And I was at this conference, and I'm in the insurance and investment world. That's my background, business wise. And so this gentleman was talking, and he was sharing some insurance and investment tips to us as an agency, and going through that whole nine. But he was also sharing a little bit of motivation for us. And one of the things he said is that whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're probably right. Right. And I know that he got that from somebody else. I don't know where the quote exactly came from. But in that moment, I thought about that as an insurance agent and as an investment advisor. And I went, you know what? You're right. Whatever I put my mind to, right, I can do. Whatever I decide to convince myself, I can do. All right. And so for us as athletes, as people in general, whatever space you may be in, if you put your mind to it and you make yourself believe that you can do it, you're going to get it done. You're going to find a way, right? If there, again, as another old adage, if there's a will, there's a way. But if you're going to convince yourself that you can't, right? Or you're telling yourself that you can't, or you're subconsciously telling yourself that you can't do something, you're probably not going to get it done, right? You're probably not at all. And I think about my 4-year-old daughter Aubrey. I'm constantly encouraging her to think positively, and we use positive words with her, right? We typically try not to say, "Hey, Aubrey, don't do this," right? We typically say, "Aubrey, do this." Does that make sense? Like instead of telling her not to do something to do, we try to encourage her to do something. And again, that's just that positive reinforcement, using words of positivity. So I would even encourage you guys to take the word can't and don't and won't and all of that out of your vocabulary completely. Because again, your mind is such a powerful tool. And guys, I tell you, man, if you will just if you will if you will protect your mind at all costs from negativity and just the grossness of what this world can give us at times, you will be in a much better headspace, which will ultimately put you in a better physical, mental, emotional, spiritual situation as you go throughout life. So that's my nugget for you. That's my thought you should know moment for you guys today. I hope that you have gotten something out of this special episode from downtown Boston. I have been very excited to deliver this to you guys. It has been an absolute treat to share this with you. Hey guys, let me tell you something. One last thing, real quick. So before I let you go, I read something earlier today, and I don't know if I wrote it down or not, but I read something earlier today, and it talked about just it gave me some words of wisdom. And I thought about this a while ago, and I think it was actually on. It was I don't know if I gave this as a thought you should know moment previously or not, but it used to be my email tag. And we just recently had Jackie Robinson Day earlier this week in the Major League Baseball world, April 15th every year. And one of Jackie Robinson's quotes, he said that a life is not important except for the impact it has on somebody else. And you can take that for what it is. I don't want to dive too much deeper into it, but just give that some thought. And my prayer and my hope for you and for all of my listeners is that you will take that and you will absolutely run with it. And you will be a blessing to somebody this weekend, this week, this month, this year, this life, and just be and make this world a better place because you exist. So I'm jazzed up. I could talk for another hour and a half because I'm so pumped, but I'm gonna go work out and I'm gonna go hang out with my wife and my daughter, and then we're gonna get some sleep, and then we're gonna go back to Fenway Park tomorrow. So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna wrap up this show like we always do. Please let everything you do be done in love, because at the end of the day, that's what makes the world go round. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.